What's up, guys? Ryan Jones here from SERPrecon, and today I want to talk about one of the easiest to do, but often hardest for us to do things in SEO, and that is predicting what your audience really wants, or searcher intent. What does the audience want? And too often in SEO, we can fall into this myopic type of thinking where we're thinking about our web pages and our content and our advertising campaigns from a point of view of what do I want the user to do? And instead, we need to be thinking about what does the user want to do? And I always tell people that, instead of approaching the problem of how do I get my web page to rank for this term, the first thought should be, what do people searching this term want? And then I should go build that thing that they want to help them achieve their task. And so one of the things we did with SERPrecon is we built in user intent. And so you may know there's a variety of user intent. There's informational, transactional, commercial, and navigational. And I did a little, I put them in in my site text cleaner here, just so I could put it on the web and show you what they are. I did it in a nice Python-y fun way here so you can look at it. But this is how I define these intents. And I purposely chose these as wordy to try and get as many use cases as possible, because sometimes I paste these intents into AI. Prior to creating SERPrecon, I would paste these into AI and say, hey, measure the intent. We've since found a better way to do it with machine learning and real data sets that we trained it on using, Microsoft Bing data sets that they made publicly available. So we've trained our own little AI to analyze intent so that, we take it a step further than a lot of other tools do. Some of the tools out there say, hey, if the query contains this word, it must be informational. If it contains this word, it must be transactional. And that works great for the top couple 100,000 queries out there. But what if it's a word we've never seen? Our machine learning model can do that. It can train on that for you. So anyway, let's talk in our definitions. Then we'll talk about a little bit how we use SERPrecon to improve this. So we all know what navigational means. Big branded, mostly navigational searches. If I type Ford or Jeep or Chrysler or something like that, I most likely want their homepage. If I type in Google, right? Google is still one of the most Googled search terms. That's a navigational search. They just want to go to Google. They just didn't know how to type in google.com. They typed in Google. We all know navigational searches. Informational searches I define as seeking in-depth information, explanations, tutorials, facts, or knowledge on specific topics without a direct website or brand in mind. And that is key, because even if they want information, if they want it from a specific website, that is a navigational search, or not an informational search. Transactional is trying to buy something, actively intending to complete a purchase, download, sign up, booking, order, or subscription for a specific product, service, or offering. Right? If I'm looking to sign up for an email, that could be transactional in that sense case for like a Substack or a newsletter list or something like that. And then commercial. Commercial is between informational and transactional. It's that mid-funnel search term that they're not doing something broad, but they haven't made up their mind yet. And so the best definition I've come up with that is researching or comparing products, services, brands, features, and prices for potential future purchase, or exploring options and reading reviews. Those are the people in the mid-funnel. They're trying to make up their mind on which brand or product, right? They haven't figured out that they want to buy yet, but they're in market. That's commercial. So that gets a little tricky, but using these three definitions, we can get a good sense on what is the intent of a search. And so one of the things we did on SERPrecon, I'll switch over, and this is one of my buddy's businesses here. He sells cornhole bags in Michigan. So I'm using his as an example because I wanted some commercial stuff and some transactional stuff. So in this query, it's, by his company name's Mother Shuckers. His cornhole bags 313 is his main brand. So, and I used his product page. And so you can see, hey, look, here's his result, right? He actually ranks number one for that. He should rank number one for that. And it has a very transactional intent, the green here, right? Which is what most of the search has on their titles and copy. And you can see, since it's super branded, Google gives us a little variety here. So we have the transactional page. We have a Facebook group talking about his specific bag. We have a review from Cornhole Addicts that also has affiliate links and sells it. So transactional, right? They're reviewing it to sell. So while reviews are there, the page itself, content is mostly, hey, here's the review, but also go buy it. So our algorithm has created this as a transactional page. not a commercial page based on their content. And then we have some more, information about them, right? Some other lower ranking stuff here. But the one way we can use this intent distribution is to say, and I'll give you a better example in a second, is one, am I matching the intent of the search, right? It does my copy and my content. And matter of fact, if we go up on page performance here, we can see, hey, boom, your title is transactional, the SERP average is transactional. And while your whole site scored transactional on that page, your copy is a little too commercial, right? Your copy could be more transactional because the SERP is mostly transactional. So one of the things I could take away from that is on my actual page, I could update my content, and you can do that with our optimize tool here, right? There's not much copy on the page. It's a little too commercial, not enough transactional. I could make some edits to this, rerun this, and get a new score. I'm not going to do that here in this video for sake of time because I want to get to a couple more examples. But that's one of the ways we can use the intent scores here. I want to look at some non-transactional queries. So let me pause the video, pull up a report, and I'll be right back. So for this query, I did, can you go over 21 in Cornhole? And as expected, that's a question. We get a nice Google AI overview that says, yes, this is a pet peeve of mine. You can go over 21. Anybody that plays that number, that you have to hit it, that is not the rule. It's not a rule anywhere. You're allowed to go over. It's a race. Putting all that aside, we can see here, most of these sites are informational, right? Some of them have transactional copy, where they have an informational intent with their title tags, and the overall score is informational. Here, they have a lot of transactional copy there, which makes sense, right? You're putting this information out there to try and sell cornholes, bags, and accessories, most likely. But we see what we expected to see. Everything's informational here. Good to go. If you didn't see that, right, there is a transactional page down here, right? It's kind of ranking a little lower, right? If they change their content, could they rank higher? I don't know. I'm not going to say it's a ranking factor, but would their conversion rates be higher? Yes. You want to make sure, at least on your title, that you're giving the users what they expect, or you're not going to get the click. So let's look at a couple more examples. Here's a search result for SEO tool that we did, and I ran this in New York about a week ago, but it's good enough to run now. And you can see most of the results here are commercial, which makes sense. There's a few informational, based on the thing, but most of the results are commercial, which makes sense because I did a broad search for SEO tool, or SERP tool in this case. Sorry, SERP tool. Did a broad search for that, and I might not know I want your tool. And so giving me more mid-funnel title tags is more likely to get my click in this case. Anyway, I hope that was helpful. I hope you can learn, how we, not only how we measure intent, how intent is defined, but how we can use SERPrecon to quickly see the intent of what's ranking. What is Google showing? What are users wanting, right? We know Google uses clicks in their algorithm. We know the stuff that gets clicked on more is going to show up more. Whether or not it's direct or indirect doesn't really matter. But we can see what intents are ranking, and we can see, hey, these are intents I have to go after. These are the words I have to integrate into my content, right? If we look at our list of words again here, complete a purchase, download, sign up, booking, that's transactional. Use those action words in your title tags, in your copy, and if you want it to score this way, but also users want to see that as action words. Those verbs in the title tags, that's going to get that click. Whereas commercial, you might want to use the best, reviews, those type of words in there. And then, informational, you might want to use the words how or learn or, facts, tutorials, explain, right? Those type of words. Those are the things that are going to resonate with users to get the click. So, hopefully you learned something. Hopefully you can now use SERPrecon to help you understand the user intent and then better optimize your content for it. And we'll see you in the next video. Thank you.